Now this up here on the right is the Parc Attractif Reine Fabiola. Excuse my French pronunciation there. And this was the pits. So we would drive in along these roads here, turn left into this place, through these gates here. And I'm guessing it's closed at the moment. But inside here was the pits or the paddock. And bear in mind we had smaller vehicles then, but it was a children's play park, and so we used to park all the way around. It goes around in a loop, and we used to park around the outside and on the inside of this play park. And this is bringing back some quite vivid memories for me. I remember one year it was really hot, and we happened to be parked next to like a little paddling pool. So in between motos, I took my kit off and cooled down in one of those paddling pools. And this is relevant to the story of Håkan Karlqvist and his beer stop, because incidentally, this is a long way from the start. When we had to go down to the Parc Fermé, it's a good quarter of a mile walk through packed crowds down these streets to get the bikes to the Parc Fermé and to get ourselves to the line. So the pits are quite a way away. But Håkan and his mechanic parked right round the back of the pits here. So they had an even longer walk to get to the start, but they did that because the track passes the other side of this pit. So I'll show you as it goes round. So he parked way over the back on his own in this play park. So back to the track. So we were coming up through the bridge. Again, on this tarmac, it wasn't covered with dirt. And then we'll be coming through here in third, maybe fourth gear. And I remember there was a bit of a kink here, and it's on tarmac. So the track was going across here and heading straight towards that parking sign there and up into the woods. But this was really slippy, because remember, we're on motocross bikes, 500s, with just knobby tyres, so they're not suited for this terrain. They get zero grip on tarmac. You're getting dirt and stuff dragged onto the track from down there, and it was really slippy. And so it was easy to light the rear tyre up as you came down here, but you wanted to get a good run out of that exit there in order to get a fast run down into the woods here. So obviously these concrete bollards weren't here, so over that curb and into the woods. So as we head into the woods, this is one of many sections that I look at now and think, how did they ever decide that they could put a motocross track here? Because it's just trees. So there's a massive one on the left here. That, I guess, would have been covered with bales. There'll be some newer trees that have grown since, but I can remember blasting down here, not sure exactly where, and it was downhill and off camber and into a right-left chicane. And this isn't signposted. You can't see the remains of the track anymore. So I guess most people that have walked this track don't actually realise where it went. So even I'm struggling to think where it went. So I'm not sure whether it turned right before these trees or after them. But I know we went right up there somewhere and then like a handbrake left. So probably before these trees. So it'd be about here somewhere. A left and then a right, and then off down parallel with the road again. Now I'm really struggling to recognise exactly where we went now. We came up along, probably between those two trees there, and then around this bad boy, and kinked down to the left. But there are overgrown parts up in the woods there, which I don't really recognise. But how did they ever put a motocross track here? It's just like an enduro course. Now, I think I'm recognising this because I think we went up a steep little climb there up into the woods and then drop back down. So I do remember that. So we've come hauling down there, off camber, up to the right, and then sharp left at the top around a tree to come back down to the level. You've got to remember that all the way around here, this is all fenced off with banners, colourful banners, and thousands of fans. And every sort of free square inch, there was a tent there, and people just camped everywhere around here, anywhere they could fit in. And so there were vans and there were tents and food stalls and trade stands, and you know, some of these were just on a slope because it is on the side of a hill. But the atmosphere was just incredible. So that, I think, was the last drop before we head up into the run down towards the double jump. That looks a lot steeper than I remember it. So we turn around that tree there, if you can see that on the inside. That was one of those corners, a bit like that one hill at Majora, where it was so on camber that if you stalled, you would just fall down against that tree. You know, you really got to keep the power up to keep the bike on its wheels going around there. So we dropped down there, and then this was very off camber into a fence on the left, and then there was a right-hander going up this hill here, which will take you up into the straight leading to the double jump.
Voor de cameramensen ook door die felle zon en dan afwisseling met de schaduwpartijen. Hier Karlqvist Torp in elk geval in tweede positie.
So that, I think, is the last uphill. But it's very overgrown, so either I'm right or I'm going to get stung and fall over. So I'll stop the recording and start again at the top. And that's it from the top. What I do remember about that right-hander there, it was that it was always in between gears. Second gear was running out a bit, but it wouldn't pull third at the bottom. So you come up that hill and then 90-degree left here, going down the back of the pits. That's a sign there that says that's the motocross track direction. But we didn't come from there. I'm pretty sure we came up that hill there that you can't really see because it's so overgrown, and then left down there. So this single track footpath that you see now was in fact reasonably wide straight. Don't know where you can see there, that's the fence, that's the back of the pits. But we went through here, but I mean, look at this. You've got two trees there. I'm looking at this now and thinking, how can this possibly be part of the track? Those trees haven't grown in the last 30 years, but look how narrow it is. So I guess we must have curved around these. This brush wouldn't have been here. These trees would have been covered with bales. So yeah, it really doesn't look like a section of the track at the moment, but I can assure you it was. I do remember that halfway along this straight it kinked right, but it was off camber, and that's exactly what we've got here. So pretty slippy when it was wet, and also we were going quite fast down here. Now this, as I said, is the back of the pits here, so Håkan Karlqvist would have parked just the other side of those pits, that fence for the pits. And he did that because his mechanic Jens could just jump over the fence here and pitboard him from here in the middle of the woods. And the reason he did that is because he didn't want anybody to know how fast he was going. This was in 1988 when he famously did his beer stop. So they parked around the back of the pits, and his mechanic signalled in from here halfway around the track. The significance of that is that he started his fast lap here and he finished his fast lap here, so he never passed the official timing point, which is up by the start in the esplanade area. he never passed the official timing point twice at speed. So he could register his fast laps. He and his mechanic knew how fast they were, but nobody else knew. And so that's how he kept his speed secret that weekend, which is a pretty cool story.